Exterminate!
I'm the Doctor.
I'm a time lord. I'm from the planet Gallifrey, the constellation of Cerberus. When I see rat.
Time and relative dimension in space.
It means life.
Greetings, humans, Daleks, Time Lords, and Absorbeloffs. You are listening to Exterminating Doctor Who on Utter Radio.
This is the show to take unpopular episodes of Doctor Who and debate whether they're really all that bad.
With your hosts, Aidan Gula.
And me, George Ellis.
And in today's episode, we are talking about Series 2's Love and Monsters. Where better to start than with a Doctor Who podcast talking about crap episodes that might actually be quite good, than with what is usually at number one on every single "these are the worst Doctor episodes of all time." Of course, it is the monstrosity that is Love and Monsters.
Yeah. I went into this episode thinking, oh, maybe it won't be as bad as everyone says, because I remember it quite fondly.
Yes.
And my God.
You did not have a good time with it
No.
yesterday, did you?
It was not what I'd call a fun time.
No, I mean, the structure of this podcast will be very much somebody on team it is bad and somebody on team actually it's quite good. So I will be taking the, let's say, devil's advocate position today. But every single criticism I've looked at in my little bit of research, I did research for this, everything that I've looked at, I see a criticism and I go, yeah, that's valid. There's nothing I'd say, actually, well, no, I disagree with that. I've just thought of rebuttals for it.
Yes.
But it doesn't mean
It's hard to play devil's advocate with this episode, no matter
I mean,
what
there
you
are
do.
things about it that I do genuinely think are quite good.
Yeah, but most of it...
But
no,
a
not
lot of
good.
it, I just think, Russell, no.
I have a feeling I know why this one isn't as good.
Yes. So, before we begin that,
Yeah.
let's just say this is episode 1 of Exterminating Doctor Who
Hopefully
on
of
Auto
1,000
Radio.
episodes.
Yeah, we'll keep going forever.
We'll never stop.
Even when we've left university, we'll still be going. They'll have to chuck us out the studios. But no, this is episode 1. Good guys at Utter Radio picked this podcast up. It was something I intended on doing on my own. But they said, no, we'll put that out for you. So I'm very, very thankful for that. And we get to use these great studios. So let's go. Let's introduce ourselves a little bit.
Okay.
Let you take over here, so I'm not just rambling to myself.
Fair enough,
But
right.
Let's say, how did you get into Doctor Who? I mean, technically, we've actually already recorded a pilot episode where we had this exact conversation.
Well,
but that'll be released at a much later time.
That'll be a little bonus something for
Yes,
people over the
that'll
Christmas
come.
holidays.
Yeah, over the Christmas holidays, I think you'll get that one.
Well, basically...
But yes, how did you get into Doctor Who? Who's your favourite Doctor? Etc.
Okay. Well, quickly, I'll just say, well, I'm George, I've said my name, but originally...
Hello, George.
The idea of this wasn't going to have a co-host, but we thought, well, why not, instead of trying to find a guest every time, to give it a bit more of a soul, have someone co-hosting. So here I am.
Plus, we've had quite a few conversations about Doctor Who recently, and we managed about a 4-hour video call about Star Wars.
Yes.
So I think we can...
I think we can
ramble.
carry something
Yes.
for this, an hour.
For an hour slot, we can go.
Easy. Right, so, how did I get into Doctor Who? Well, when I was younger, I used to just watch it on TV on, like, Saturdays. I started really with end of kind of Christopher Eccleston's era, kind of David Tennant's era.
Yeah.
Was where I really got into it and really started watching Doctor Who. And probably goes without saying, my favourite Doctor, because of that, is Peter Capaldi. No, I'm kidding. It's David Tennant. No, he was...
Sylvester McCoy. Okay.
No, David Tennant is the best Doctor, by far. And my kind of history with Doctor Who is... Got into it with David, went back in that time and watched Christopher Eccleston's era, kind of fell off out of love with it in Matt Smith's era, and then kind of come back and dabble in an episode every so often.
Now and then you just think, I'll just watch it now. But
Exactly. If it's just on TV and I've got nothing to do, I'll put it on, because it kind of reminds me of...
when you're waiting for Strictly, you'll put...
I don't watch Strictly.
yeah.
Oh, no. Right,
Whatever you say.
No matter, it could be any era of Doctor Who. It goes, I'll watch it instead of Strictly. No, and then I kind of I wouldn't really say fell out of favour, but just kind of didn't really go back to it much so
Yeah.
often after that.
But I think that's a really nice perspective to have on here because, I mean, I am the super fan on
Yes.
this podcast, but it's quite nice to have somebody who does have a grounded knowledge in Doctor Who. You did grow up with it.
Oh, yeah.
It's not like you just go, what's that blue thing that flies through space? You don't know what
That's
it
the
is.
TARDIS, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's that green box. It sometimes it goes underwater sometimes, doesn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think Thunderbird 4 pilots it sometimes.
Oh, no, okay, no Thunderbirds. It's like, right, you know Thunderbirds, me no Batman, okay? That's what we're going to do.
Yes. But yeah, I think it's a nice perspective to have because I will have lots of deep, obscure knowledge.
Yes, and the best thing about this podcast is it means I can go... This makes me go back and watch
Yeah, and it's
albeit
quite
the
nice.
worst episodes.
Yeah, it's quite nice to have.
It makes me go back and watch
some stuff that
stuff.
maybe you've not even seen before.
Yes.
If we pick up, it's quite nice to have a fresh perspective because I know what people have been saying about them
I'll
for
have no
years,
nostalgia feel for
and
it.
you'll
It's
have
good.
nothing. You just put it on and go, okay, I'm going to look at this objectively.
And to be fair, when I rewatch episodes of Doctor Who out of choice, it's usually the ones I like.
Yes, I would
Not
imagine.
Love
yeah.
and Monsters.
You're going to be like, oh, I really fancy Love and Monsters today.
If anyone out there fancies watching Love and Monsters, I really say I advise you don't do it. Don't do that to yourself.
Well, if for people
For the love of
that are
God,
listening,
don't.
well, for people that are listening to this, and we get to exterminate misconceptions. Did you see what I did there? For anyone that's like, okay, so what are the crap episodes of Doctor Who? I'm quite curious to know what do these people think of them. I think it's quite nice if anybody does want to go away and make your own judgment.
Yeah. Why
Just
not?
saying,
Bit of homework.
there are better episodes to watch than the ones we will discuss.
Yes.
But we get to discuss them because there's a lot of negativity in the Doctor Who fandom.
Yes.
There's
there
a
is
lot
actually.
of trolls, a lot of absorber
I think
lofts.
maybe a
I'll
part
get
of
onto that little point soon. There's
Maybe
a lot of
the
similarities there.
negativity around Doctor Who pushes a lot of old school fans away. Maybe. We don't know.
Maybe. But there's a lot of negativity. Spit it, put your teeth in, man. There's a lot of negativity out there. So I thought it's a good podcast to do about Doctor Who. There's plenty of Doctor Who podcasts. But I thought, what could I do? And I thought, let's raise positivity.
Yeah.
Let's get
turn
something.
that negativity into positivity.
Yes, turn that frown
Upside down.
So we get to talk
cut
about some
that.
episodes that people... Oh, that is not getting
That's not
cut.
staying in.
I get to decide in the edit.
That's my being co-host.
So yeah, we're here to raise positivity and take some episodes that people say, ugh, that one, and say, actually, is it quite good?
Yes, and we can. And the good thing about us liking different Doctors is we kind of have a different grounding on what the best Doctor is.
Yes. Oh, well, that leads smoothly. Look at that little segue you did there.
Thank you very much.
That leads us smoothly onto me saying, hello, my name is Aidan Gula, and my favourite Doctor is Peter Capaldi. Wow. I mean, I was about to say it's controversial. It's not really. I see a lot of people say that.
It's not like you said.
If I said my favourite Doctor is Colin Baker, and people would go, oh my God, who are you? But Peter Capaldi, there's a lot of people who say he is their favourite. The problem with the Peter Capaldi era is Moffat fatigue. That's all I'm going to say. Is he just finished the Matt Smith era, which was a bit bumpy, but...
That's, yeah. I noticed that when I come back to, like... when I kind of came back and dabbled in Matt Smith's later era, I did enjoy it a lot more than the start of his era.
Really?
Yeah, because I liked that he actually wore better clothes.
I think his Doctor completely lost it by the end, but
really,
we'll discuss that in a Matt Smith themed episode.
To be fair, my knowledge of that Matt Smith era is patchy at best.
His last two episodes pulled it back, but before that, let's not get into that one right now. But yeah, I think Moffat, he tried. Series 5, Matt Smith's series, is absolutely amazing. The 50th special is absolutely amazing. And then even Peter Capaldi's first series, there's some nice ideas there. But the next series, I think he struggled with Series 9.
Which one's Series 9?
Well, when we were planning future episodes the other day, there was an episode we discussed that is from Series 9.
Yeah, I think I know which one you're talking about.
So... yeah, I love you, Capaldi, but those episodes, not great. But yeah, that's my favourite Doctor.
And I'd say his acting can kind of pull back a lot of those episodes.
Honestly, that's on so many episodes.
And it really requires an episode to have the Doctor in it. And imagine having an episode of Doctor Who without there's Love and Monsters.
Yes. I mean, just before we get to Love and Monsters, I can say that exactly the same as George. I grew up with Doctor Who. The earliest episode I remember watching live on TV is Father's Day. I mean, it's cliched, but like, I don't think people could actually hide behind my sofa because I think it was against a wall. But as close as I could get to hiding behind the sofa, I was when those bloody reapers come out of the sky and attack that church. I was terrified. But that is one of my favourite episodes to this day, because I think it's a great episode, plus nostalgia, baby. So, never saying that
Put
again.
that baby back. Let go of the baby.
But yeah, I've watched it religiously ever since. There's a couple of episodes I missed, probably because I was out doing something, but...
When I was watching Doctor Who, I didn't miss any episodes because I didn't have anything.
But if I can
to
help
do.
it, I don't miss it. So, yeah. That is us. That is your co-hosts.
Yeah.
Well, yes,
If you've missed
co-hosts.
anything, feel free to write in our PO. We don't have a... Don't, just telepathically think of the questions and we'll answer it.
You put a finger on either side of your head and you say, connect. That is an obscure reference to something from Doctor Who from the 70s.
I didn't... Well, that'll be for some fans out there who are as strange as Aidan.
Well, they brought it back in Jodie Whittaker's last series, to be fair.
I
But
haven't seen that.
John Pertwee and the Master used to just go, connect, and then there'd be some funky
That's a
effect.
power.
No, wasn't the Master. Oh, people are going to have a go at me for that. It was the Doctor with the other Doctors in the Three Doctors. They went, connect, and then they all had like the shared memories
Perfect.
with each other's.
That's the best thing about being the one in this podcast who doesn't know quite as much about Doctor Who. If I make a mistake, not my fault.
Yeah, I make a mistake, and I'm just going to have to
Killing.
go commit harakiri. How do you say it outside?
Well, there's a... Don't know. Okay, let's not get into...
Harukari.
Well, there are loads of different names for it, but...
Anyway, so that is us. We will be here every Sunday, I think.
Yes.
Depending on...
Starting
utters.
on today, the 22nd.
Yes. Definitely that today, when we're recording this.
Yes. No, yeah.
Yes, so every Sunday, depending on Utter Radio's schedule, 5 till 6, we will be live-ish.
Yes. You'll be hearing us live.
Yes.
So
but-
we are live for you,
Yes.
not for us.
But we will be discussing a new episode every week for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, that's us.
So with that out of the way, Love and Monsters.
What the hell was that episode?
I mean, where do you start, really?
Well, I know where to start. Let's first start with Peter Kay. I love Peter Kay, but why is he in Doctor Who?
Star value?
The thing is, they didn't utilise the star. He was just playing a character who could have been filled by a better role. By a better actor, I mean.
I mean, I do find it quite funny. As much as I love Peter Kay and Doctor Who,
Oh, Peter Kay's great.
I do find it hilarious that Peter Kay says his biggest career regret ever is Doctor Who.
I don't think his biggest career regret would be Doctor Who, per se. I think it's just the fact that his episode of Doctor Who was this one.
Yes. I mean, it's saying something considering... Do you remember when he did the sha-la-la-la-la-la-la?
That's not a career mistake.
No, but probably the clip where he's marching next to Jimmy Savile.
That might be.
I would say that's more of a career regret than being the Absorbaloff. But that proves how strongly he thinks of the Absorbaloff. That marching next to Jimmy Savile was better than it.
Well, let's gloss over that one, shall we? No. And the name. Right. Let's do this in stages, shall we? I'm tangled up in my wires. Bear with.
Well,
Right.
we have gone straight in with the Absorbaloff in the room, which is the monster of the episode.
Right.
So this is a good place to begin, because how
Yes.
can you not just...
And
You can't build up to the Absorbaloff.
I know,
can
and it's good job we had that really strong protagonist. The Doctor wasn't in this episode, was he?
Well, we'll get onto that.
Yeah.
That's for production
Ooh.
reasons, but we'll get onto that.
No, the Absorbaloff. First off, the humans of the episode come up with the name Absorbaloff for the Absorbaloff himself, which I mean, Absorbaloff, Absorberling, Absorberwooby, Woo. It's Slitheen, great name. Daleks, great name. Absorbaloff.
Well,
Where's the potency there?
bear in mind that it was created by a 9-year-old child.
Did they not have a writer on board?
Well,
Did they not pay anyone, Aidan?
There was a Blue Peter...
They're hiring children, guys. You heard it here first. Doctor Who hires children, slaves. I don't know what they're doing. We need to stop this.
There was a Blue Peter competition. 2006, I
Oh,
think.
now I feel bad. Look what you've done to me.
William Grantham will be very upset.
I'm sorry, William.
My God, it's bad. I know actually the name of the child. No, I did research this morning. It's all right. Yes, so Blue Peter did a competition in 2006 called Design Your Own Monster, and they were contractually obligated that whatever won would be in Doctor Who. So the winner of that competition was William Grantham with his creation, the Absorbaloff, originally conceived as a bit 20-foot Godzilla-type monster.
That's cool.
Like that's
Godzilla.
in his drawing. You can't see that because he didn't put it's 20 feet tall.
Oh.
But years later, he's actually got a YouTube channel that talks about Doctor Who.
Right,
and
are we going to plug in?
I won't say the name, so we don't plug it. So you stay here and listen to us. But no, I watched this channel for ages, and then it wasn't until like 2 years later they went, I was the person who designed the Absorbaloff. And I was like, no way. Well, I've been listening to you this entire time. But he was talking about how, in his original concept, like he thought it would be this massive monster. He's like, I never anticipated Peter Kay playing him, and all this sort of thing. And I found it quite funny that they just see that sheet of paper and just went, okay, we'll make him normal size, put him in a fat suit. And
like Planet Eater big? Because
well,
that's quite clever.
I think he meant like Godzilla big.
Yeah, so like city kind of absorber.
Yeah.
Because that's basically, I'm gonna kill myself if I can't think of this. I'm thinking Transformers. Transformers. It's not Galvatron because Galvatron's the Planet Eater. Unicron. There you go. So Unicron basically. So
I don't know what any of that meant.
Doesn't matter. To anyone out there who gets that, you'll probably realise I'm a little bit off. But to Aidan, I'm perfect.
Yeah, that's
bang
absolutely perfect.
Yes.
Well, I did the Connect reference wrong, so it's all right. You can talk about unicorns or whatever
Fair
the hell
enough.
that
No,
was.
but, right, so a large, giant. That's better.
I mean, it's still not great though.
But,
I mean, do you remember the episode of The Simpsons? Have you seen it where Homer gets really big and he just starts eating everything?
I remember that from the Simpsons game where you just became a big sludge monster.
Yeah, it's like a Mickey take of the Blob essentially, but that's what that makes me think of. So maybe, I don't know, is it better to have Peter Kay running around? I don't know.
Why is Peter Kay involved in this anyway?
Star value. It's got Moaning Myrtle or whatever her name is from Harry Potter in it. And it's got the Geordie fella from Alan Partridge. So there's a lot of people who were very popular at the time just thrown into that episode.
But they've got to have chemistry and there's got to be a story behind that. Because otherwise it just... Right, how far can I go? Are we doing sections or can I just go?
Go for it.
Okay, right. First off, let's start off with elements I did like. The bits where you're just watching him talking to the camera.
Yes.
To the computer. Those are quite good, actually. His acting's on point there. I quite like it. They're nice.
Mark somebody or other. I can never remember his surname.
I'm not going to even try my name unless it's David Tennant. No, but they're those bits are quite good. I like them. The way they allow us to kind of see maybe just a human perspective on all the alien stuff. But the problem is, any other scene is a bit... Yeah. They're all a bit... Yeah. Even Peter Kay. It's like I'm watching Peter Kay play a... You're just seeing the actors, no matter what scene they're in. That's the problem with star value. With David, every time I see him, I'm seeing the Doctor. Because it's an entirely different... He's playing the Doctor. He's not playing David playing the Doctor. And the problem with having no David, Doctor, in this episode, or any episode for that matter, you've got to be invested in these new characters. And if those characters aren't really well developed, or they're just a bit, then that episode's already lost itself.
Yeah.
Oh,
I wonder if that's to do with actually the reason why David Tennant's not in it.
Why isn't he in it?
Which is maybe they chucked a load of star value into it because they were like, well, the Doctor isn't in this one, and maybe the actors are all a bit meh because the episode was very, very rushed. Because Series 1 happened 2005, and then BBC went, yep, Series 2, go. And they went, oh, okay. And then had a lot less time to do it than they thought they would. So it got
you sprung this on me. What am I going to do?
It got to a point in the production where they had to make 2 episodes at the same time. They had no choice. They literally had to make 2 episodes at the same time.
Just cut an episode.
So they went, David and what the hell
Billy.
is Billy? David and Billy, you go off there, and we're going to just go over here, and we're going to make another episode.
What episode were they filming?
I'm not sure.
I bet it's Fear.
I wonder if it'd be... I don't know. It might be earlier in the block. I don't know. I don't know the particular episode that they were making at the same time, but they they needed them elsewhere.
Right.
And then they were like, we need another episode. Let's hurry this through. Same reason why there are other so-called Dr. Light episodes later on.
The thing about Dr. Light
the run.
episodes is I can kind of like a lot of them. I can. But they're usually got characters involved who are compelling. These ones weren't.
Just don't do it for you.
No.
I think the concept around Elton is more interesting than Elton.
Exactly. The idea of a guy who met the Doctor as a kid and then meet just that the entire premise of that. Get rid of the absorber off. That's an episode.
Yes, because that was here we are getting into my rebuttals now. Let's get my notes ready. But I think it's interesting to see the impact that the Doctor has on ordinary human lives. Because you see an episode, the whole city is in chaos, explosions everywhere, aliens running the street, and he goes, right, okay, next episode we're off somewhere else. And you sort of, I do sometimes wonder what people make of that. I do genuinely think that.
Probably screams.
In the same way that, I mean, let's go back to the 60s here, but like, the first two companions, not counting the Doctor's granddaughter, but are Ian and Barbara, they begin their travels with the Doctor in 1963. They then travel off 2 years, come back in 1965 and just return to London like it's nothing. And I always think, didn't somebody notice they were missing for 2 years?
Well, did they go back after those 2 years, or did they go back and join as if they hadn't gone anywhere?
Well, they left in 1963, then came back in 1965 and just went, and they just went, we're back.
Well, back then, did they just... That's probably what happened. Right, Mum, Dad, I'm going away for a couple of years. You'll never hear from me. I might write a letter, but I'll be back.
Like, they were teachers at a school. The students would surely just get to a class and just go, where's Mr. Chesterton today?
Well,
like,
if to be fair, when we were students, were you the kind of student to go like, let's go tell someone that our teacher's missing, or would you just enjoy the fact there's no teacher?
Yeah, no, I was like...
Hope that...
I never said
headcanon.
we can leave after 15 minutes. I never said that nonsense. But yeah.
Everyone tried, though.
But I think it's nice to have that concept of like, okay, when the Doctor comes into this person's life at this point, and then they leave, what happens in the meantime? And I think it's quite nice to see, even Jackie, but we'll get onto that soon. I think it's quite nice to see somebody get obsessed with the Doctor, in a way. Like, we had a very similar plot earlier in the series with the Sarah Jane episode, School Reunion. Do you remember that one, where she comes back?
Oh, do I remember School Reunion, one of my favourite episodes? Yes, I do, Aidan.
Well, just throwing that out there in case
K9?
In case you just went, damn, I've not seen that in years. Can't remember what happened.
Creature things, which are evolved and all that. Kind of cool.
What were they called?
Cree? No, not Cree. That's Krillitane. No. What we're going to do is just... Okay, tell me the name.
Krillitane.
Okay, Krillitane. Well done, George.
Smooth.
Just, yeah.
But no, the difference between that episode is that Sarah Jane traveled with the Doctor, met the Doctor, left the Doctor, and wanted her life to be like that again.
And you have the Sarah Jane adventures.
Well, that came afterwards, but we'll get on to that. She wanted to still have that travel in her life, hence why she got the spin-off K9 and Company. But she wanted to have an adventurous life, and she wanted to follow on with what she'd learned from the Doctor. Elton, in that case, met the Doctor, wondered who he was, and just went, just carry on my life.
Listen, if it was just a man standing in your living room, that's quite creepy. But as soon as the end of the episode goes like, your mum died, and I'm... Oh, that whole scene, right.
Did you not think that sort of makes sense why he's repressed that memory, though?
Kind of, but also, why was the Doctor just standing there and be like, hey, kid, your mum's dead in the corner. I'm just going to stand here.
And look out the window.
There's no, like... Right, I've seen the Doctor in quite a few episodes. He doesn't seem like the kind of person to just let the kid stare at his mum's corpse and just be like, this is fine.
I feel like that's very Capaldi, that is.
Yes, that's not David, though.
I remember when I watched Series 8 with my dad, and I remember the quote stuck with me ever since, and he just went, this Doctor's very happy to see people die, isn't he? And I remember that quote, and I can never forget it. But yeah, David Tennant just sort of just stands there, dead mum in the corner, and just goes, all right.
One of the most compassionate Doctors kind of isn't caring about his kids.
Maybe just as that shot ends, he actually goes, oh, don't turn around, your mum's dead. But we don't see that.
No, we clearly... It's just... I mean, that's fair enough repressing it. But come on, David, you could have made that so he's not repressing the memory.
Yeah.
Or don't forget about this kid who you've just shown up and...
Yeah, no, I think that's awkward.
No, okay. What would the Doctor do? would he come back a couple of years later to explain it? If like we're talking David's Doctor, or would he just hope? Or would he just do nothing in this case? The only reason they met up again isn't because of any idea of him going back to console the kid on the fact that his mum was killed by these aliens, which I forget the name of, and it wasn't the Vashta Nerada, which it should have been.
No, I couldn't tell you. Oh, stumped me there. I actually don't know the alien that killed his...
Yeah. It's just darkness.
Killed his mum.
Which was, I was like, oh, please mention Vashta Nerada, because that would have been a cool little reference. But no, it's just another shadow alien. And he doesn't come back... He just comes back at a pure coincidence, because...
I mean, I actually quite like that the ending, essentially... Just jumping around in the episode here, but I do quite like the ending that the Doctor and Rose only show up to tell Elton off.
I hate that though.
No, I quite like
saving
it.
Him.
I quite like it that they literally just turn up, and then Rose is like, "No one's rude to my mum." They're like, and then the Doctor essentially just goes, "Oh, there's an alien there," but like I feel like they didn't actually know it was there, and I find that quite funny.
It's funny, yeah. That's the core crux with this episode. It's trying to be funny. It's trying to be funny in places where it shouldn't.
I've heard that is the most, doing my little bit of research, that is the most common criticism I've heard.
Doing my little research in the fact I just watched the episode again.
Yes.
It's just, there are moments where it's funny. There are. That's
not the paving slab joke, but let's not go there.
The paving. I made that, when I first watched the episode, I texted Aidan and I made that joke the moment I saw the paving slab. And then I said, "Oh no, I hate that bit." Yeah, and then the moment in the episode the joke happened. After I said that joke, and I was like, "Oh no, that's not right. That's not Doctor Who. That's just pure
Russell T Davies at that point."
Yeah,
that feels like something from Queer as Folk. It really does.
It's trying to be funny in places where it doesn't even need to be funny. Oh, okay. Pure example of a terrible joke. Do you know at the start where they're running around in all the doors and it's that classic?
The Scooby-Doo chase, as people call it.
What the... Excuse my French. Was that? First, from a filmmaking standpoint, it looked janky as hell. From a actual TV, from the world of the universe, Doctor Who universe standpoint, what was the point? It wasn't funny. I mean, Doctor Who does appeal to kids, but come on, how old are these kids that are watching? 2?
I mean, we were 5 when it was on.
Yeah, all right, but I didn't find that bit fun. And that monster at the start, way better design than the Absorbaloff.
Although it goes unnamed in the episode. The only reason we know the name is because they did an action figure of it. That's our
what's
point.
The name?
Hoix. Try that one.
Hoix! Never mind, Absorbaloff's better. The whole episode is just trying to be funny. And the thing is, Doctor Who can be funny. You need, for humour to land, you need good script for it to be a good joke in the first place. And then you need good delivery, and that requires a good actor. These actors aren't really known for their comedy. Peter Kay maybe, and there was probably like one joke in it which he does which is mildly funny, and even that is probably even not a joke.
Well, not the fart joke. That's way...
Not that one. No.
That one's awful.
I can't remember what it was, but it was the only good one. Like the... I can't remember what. That's
the bit that makes me laugh that he says is when he says, "Don't touch me, I've got eczema."
That's the one.
And then they go, "Don't you mean eczema?" And he's like, "No, eczema."
It's
I
much
like
worse.
that bit.
Yeah. He's kind of playing it off. That was more, though... I wouldn't say that's the script, maybe. It's more just his ability to play that off.
Yeah.
It's just... there are elements of Doctor Who where it can be funny. Like you see David and Donna with the big bee. Do you remember? The big wasp thing. The...
Vespiform, that's what it's actually called.
That's the one. Do you know where he's looking for? Was it the salt he's looking for? I need salt.
Yes.
That entire scene,
that's
amazing, hilarious. But why is it funny? Because the script, it's good. Personally, I find all Doctor Who scripts to be good. But
well,
most of them. But I mean, David Tennant's era. But the thing is about that, it needs good delivery. And David and Donna, their rapport
work perfectly.
Why did I say Donna? David and Catherine.
I did think that. I thought David
Sorry,
and Donna.
I just no.
It's like earlier, I said John Pertwee and the Master. I thought John Pertwee's real, but the Master's not.
Well, no, to me, David is the Doctor. But no, their rapport is bang on. The chemistry is top notch, and it's worth every penny. You know.
Yeah.
So
And
there,
what's those two really funny lines from that bit? The bit when he goes, "I need salt." Then she gets salt, and he goes, "No, too salty." That's it. And she goes, "Oh, salt's too salty."
yes.
And the other one, he's like shaking his hands around doing something, and she goes, "Harvey Wallbanger," and he goes, "Harvey Wallbanger."
Class, love it. See, that's how you do humour in Doctor Who. That's how you do humour in anything. But in this episode, we're relying humour on the character, which is Absorbaloff, and Peter Kay, given very little jokes and with no one to kind of play those off. Because he's not just telling stand-up where you tell a story and you've got the setup, the punchline, all that. It's just humour.
Maybe they should have really banked on star value and got the Absorbaloff just to go garlic bread.
Or what they could have done is they could have had the Absorbaloff be a stand-up comedian. Just half of the episode is just a Peter Kay show.
He just absorbs the audience. That's what he does.
Would have been better. Would have actually been a better TV. Would have been a 1 second. Would have been a better episode. It would have been, yeah. But no, the so you got this whole subplot in it, the Jackie Tyler thing.
Oh, we're going on to Jackie now, because I actually think this is the best part of the episode.
Okay, I think we should maybe leave David's kind of the ending to the end, you know?
Okay, sure.
Because that's where I can actually
Just
sing any
before
praises of it.
just before our how would we make this better section.
Yes.
So yeah, but I think actually Jackie's part is the strongest part of the episode, because it comes back to that how does the Doctor affect people's lives when he's not there?
It expands the universe.
And I think that's also another point. Universe deepening is a separate point I have. But I think it's quite interesting to see that. Well, what does Jackie do when her daughter's off traveling the universe? What does she do? She's lonely. She just washes her clothes in a laundrette. She just carries on as normal, but she's deeply lonely. And I find that quite interesting and compelling, that storytelling.
It adds character to Jackie's character and to, I completely forget the protagonist's name, his character.
Elton,
John. They made that joke like 4 times.
Oh, you don't meet many Eltons.
I'm
That's
just
a line
once. Do
Jackie
it once.
says.
Do it. One joke. Elton. Ugh, right. It adds elements to Jackie and Elton, but it's okay. Where's the alien?
But
this
I
episode
think
feels like it was written and then they put the alien in at the end. Because all the good bits I can say about this episode are without the Absorbaloff in it.
Yes. But I think this is a real turning point in Jackie's character, because when we first meet Jackie, she's very. I mean, what's one of the first lines she has? It's when Ninth Doctor walks into a bedroom. She goes, "Oh, stranger man in my bedroom. Anything could happen." And then the Doctor just goes, "No," and then walks away. That's like the first time we see her. Later on than that, she's always talking about, "Oh, I was talking to this guy. I was talking to this guy. I was talking to this guy." And you think, when you actually see her life without Rose and all these people she's gossiping about all the time, they're not really there. She's always like, "Oh, such and such said this, and then I saw this person down the market." But actually, she's deeply lonely.
Yeah.
And then she needs Elton posing as a handyman to come in, and actually she has somebody to talk to.
Yeah.
But then Jackie's character changes quite significantly, because if you look at Jackie in series 1 and 2, that is not the Jackie that returns in series 4. By that point, Jackie's wielding a gun and fighting the universe. She's hunting Daleks at that point. Jackie is not the same character. And I think this is where she changes, because it's very much, you see her looking very lonely and very just sort of,
She finds
I'm just
purpose in a
waiting
way.
for Rose to come back. I'm just waiting for Rose to come back. But then when she sees the picture of Rose in Elton's wallet, which is so creepy. Why would you keep that on you, Elton?
I know.
But then she confronts him outside as he brings back the pizza. And I think she says something like, "I will never let her down. I will protect both of them," or says something like that. And I think that is where the new Jackie comes in, right at that moment. And I think, of all characters to give an episode of character development to, I didn't think it'd be Jackie.
No, it's good though.
But I think
they
that's
didn't give
an
the episode
absolute
too right.
highlight of the
They
episode.
gave a small section of it and had.
Yeah. It's not called Jackie's episode,
Should
because that'd be too on the nose. But but it also, like you said, about universe deepening, that is a separate point that hadn't connected to Jackie. But you get to do character development, but you also, the whole universe feels deeper in this episode, I think.
Yes.
Because something that is only really present in this era of Doctor Who, the Russell T Davies run, they're trying to do it in the current Chibnall run, but it's not working as well. Maybe some of Matt Smith's do, but this really feels like one complete story across the Russell Davies era.
That's one thing, if I could say anything about Doctor Who, which I think needs to be there. Because otherwise, the whole idea of an episodic format where it's different adventure each time is great and all, but there needs to be character development, and there needs to be connections to every single... I really think the latest era of Doctor Who's, any of them, need to find a way to link back to any older ones. Just small references.
Well, they try that, but it just ends up being too... Oh, what are you doing that for?
No, but it does. It works, and when it works, it works.
When it works, it works.
Right, okay, Peter Capaldi, when he looks into the barrel and he sees the Pompeii episode,
Yes.
that made me cry, mainly because I saw David Tennant. But doing that expands the character, so you see him as the Doctor and not as this next person playing the Doctor. Yeah. That's what if I were to say a blanket statement on all Doctor Who, that's one of the most important elements, making it feel like it's a character.
But yeah, that callback works better than... Oh my god, what is the episode called? Kablam.
Kablam.
A Kablam, yeah. A 13th Doctor episode. And there's just like random bits which just go, "Oh, did I ever tell you about the time I fought a big wasp?" It's like, I didn't need that right there.
That's not how you should do
and
that.
That's just them like going, "Hey guys, do you remember the David Tennant era?" It's like, yes, move on.
Go back, please. No, that's it. As with anything, it's got to be done right.
Yeah, but the way that this does it, and actually there's a few other episodes across this era that does it. Turn Left being a good example, where they show you
left or right.
Left.
Right.
Where they show you a past event that we've seen from an old episode, then go, but here's somebody else's perspective of it. So we've seen the Sycorax ship fly over London, but then you see it again from somebody just in their bed, and I love that. And even the bit when he's just walking down the street and then the Autons just appear, and it's like, what? It's like, this episode, when it works, it feels like this is what it would feel like to live in the Doctor Who universe.
Yes. Another thing, but the thing about those kind of flashbacks, they work most of the time, but in this episode, because as you said, they were doing 2 episodes at the same time, felt cheap. It felt the only one that worked shot wise, like kind of scene wise. Well, the main one that didn't work. Do you know where the ship crashed into Big Ben? When we saw it from their perspective, it was Elton and like 4 other people. It felt like they were just Elton and 4 other people. The other scenes worked because they just mixed the shots together, and you could kind of do that. But with that one, it just felt like
I can understand that. But I think it's nice to feel like this is the effect on.
It was I'm nitpicking on this bit.
Yeah.
But this whole idea and the way it was done in the episode is the strongest elements of it.
Yeah.
And speaking of strongest elements, David Tennant. Oh yes.
Here we go.
Who doesn't love David Tennant? And if you don't, stop listening to the podcast, unless you give him. No, keep listening. But bless you.
Thank you.
When David and Billy show up at the end, although I'm not a huge fan of their reasoning for it, because I would rather he actually comes back to save Elton, because otherwise Elton would be dead, and it shows the Doctor just forgets about someone's mum.
Actually, just to interrupt you for a moment, but I actually thought about this the other day, and I thought, right, well, I said the other day, I thought about this earlier, but I was thinking about the effect that it has on the universe, and I thought, right, okay, so anybody that knows Elton, or anybody else in Linda, all of Linda go missing, except Elton. Then I thought, I wonder if there was like if you had to do a sequel to Love and Monsters, do you do him like on suspicion of murder? I thought of that earlier, like the way that he's just the one survivor of Linda.
Everybody else, no one else seemed to care.
No,
when
not
really. When was it Bliss? When Bliss first disappeared, they were like, Bliss is gone. What a shame. None of them cared. They'd known each other for how long? And
actually, I was watching a video earlier, and they were talking about this. They're going, how stupid can you be? Because they were going, every time...
We're hunting this alien.
What is the Absorbaloff's human name? Victor something, isn't it?
Peter. K.
Peter Victor. Classic. I can't think what it is right now.
Victor Whitebeard.
Whatever his name is.
Victor,
but like,
I'm a big spudgy.
They were like, the video is like saying, how stupid can you see? How stupid can you be? Because it's like, every time he goes, oh, Bliss, can I have a word? And then she's not there the next time. And then he goes, oh, whatever the other names are. And then they're missing again. Has nobody made that connection?
Right, okay. So, Aidan, you're in this group. You're looking for this alien being the Doctor.
Yes.
And then these people are going missing around you. Could it be that there's some sort of bad alien in your midst?
I mean, they don't actually know the Doctor's an alien, though, do they? They just think he's a mysterious bloke.
Even then. Well, no, but what's his face? Elton had literally seen an alien earlier when they started going disappearing.
That doesn't mean he is, though, does it?
Yeah, but
You might think, oh, that's suspicious. But
yeah,
you
but
might...
okay. You see this alien, like an alien.
Yes.
Are you now just going to disregard the fact that this mysterious man is around these aliens a lot?
But I probably wouldn't think he's an alien. I'd probably say he's one of the Men in Black.
Okay.
That's probably what I'd say.
Are the men in... Right. No matter what, it's suspicious. And people are going missing. Come on.
You would think it's connected, yes. But
You
anyway,
would.
carry on with whatever your point was.
Well, ow,
you
what
can
was
rem-
that?
If you can remember
Carry
it
on
now.
with whatever point you want
Well,
about.
I couldn't remember what it was because I went off on a
It was how
tangent
perfect
about
David Tennant is.
murderer Elton.
Right, so back to when David and Billy, the Doctor and Rose Tyler,
Oh,
show
that
up.
was fancy.
Thank you very much. Show up at the end of the episode. It's good to have them show up because a Doctor Who episode without the Doctor at all is it just doesn't feel like Doctor Who. You need to have him in some way. But in Blink, he's actually in it more. Don't blink. Is it Blink or don't blink?
Blink.
Blink. Aha, got it right. In Blink, he's actually in it more than in this episode. But yeah. No, when they show up, it's great. It's amazing. But they don't really actually feel like they're characters in a way. Because you don't, they kind of
I suppose
feel
you're not really
forced.
with them for long enough.
They just show up, and then David's a bit of a jerk, to be honest. I know he's being like all smart and clever, but he doesn't really do much other than just tell the people inside them to pull inside the absorber off to. It felt like they were.
I forgot that bit.
Yeah, it felt like they were put in. Billy and David, they were just put in the end of the episode because it's called Doctor Who, which is important that they're in the episode. But can you not put them in the episode in such a way that they're saving someone, not just showing up to have a go at the guy who's just lost everything?
I do quite like that bit, to be fair.
But do you like it because what? Right.
I just find it funny.
Exactly.
I have a soft spot for when Doctor Who does funny. It gets me, and it's really bad because there's a Peter Capaldi episode, The Caretaker. Have you ever seen it?
I think so.
The monster is atrocious. Essentially, on paper, the episode is atrocious, but my God, is it funny. Like,
This one
absolutely,
isn't funny, though.
absolutely hysterical, that episode. So anytime Doctor Who does funny, I'm like, damn it, you got me again.
Oh, I've been bamboozled.
But the thing
You've
with
got me.
So maybe that's why I love Monsters. Just as I'm like, ugh, then at the final moment it does something quite funny. I'm like, ugh, damn it. But yeah, it would be better to have a I am the Doctor and I'm here to save you rather than just what you're saying about my mum.
Which, okay. But that's very Rose to do that. That's fine. But
Yeah.
then the Doctor's like, yeah, that's fine. I'll let him have a go at this. It didn't feel like the Doctor came to save him. If anything, it felt like the Doctor came to show up and remind the people inside the absorber off that you can do something about this. And even then-
Maybe the 10th Doctor was just on an off day. Maybe he went and saw Elton's mum die on the same day. So the reason he's just like looking out the window, and then later on he's just like,
No, but
oh,
he's
you
not.
again.
That's when I started rewatching this episode. I was like, okay, I feel like I know what they're gonna do. They're gonna have the Doctor, David. He's gonna be like, it'll be a day for him since he last saw Elton. But no, he mentions the fact that you don't remember. Like he mentions the fact that he's seen him again and then again. Like he didn't straight go to him because that seems like the whole death of the mother thing was before he even met, before he was back with Companion in the Rose and all that kind of thing. Like on his break, or maybe that happened. It just. I don't know when it was in the timeline, so it could have been
or
any
where
time.
Rose was at the time.
Exactly.
Where was she? Probably,
It's
probably using the loo upstairs or something.
The thing is with a lot of these episodes that we're going to discuss, they feel like great ideas. Sometimes they're terrible ideas, especially the absorbers. But they just don't execute them, or they have too much. And in this episode, the idea of the Doctor and Rose, great, fantastic. They don't show up and really do much. And David saves a slab. Doctor says.
Well, actually, I
could have done more.
I'm going to go into two interpretations of this episode now because I was deep in it on the sense of this is the effect that Doctor Who has on a person. However, I've seen some deep interpretations of this episode, and I thought, let's talk about these. The first one was that Elton is a liar.
What?
And I thought, what? And it was saying the only thing we can trust that we see of Elton is when he's talking to camera. Because the rest is essentially just flashbacks. That's not actually us watching the events. That's Elton recalling the events. And a lot of it was actually like, this theory was saying, maybe a lot of this that he's talking about didn't actually happen, or not in the way he said it anyway. Because
Good
this is
idea.
him explaining what happened.
But-
What do you think of that theory?
That's a good idea. But I've seen stuff, especially when it comes to Batman and stuff, where they've done the idea of the point of view of children seeing Batman. They see him in very different incarnations. They see him in weird ways. So the fact that with this episode, that's actually not said or stated in any way, that is actually a good idea. It's not the case. It's not true, though. It's
No.
not.
I don't
It's-
believe it,
it's
but I thought
completely-
it's an interesting theory that
Interesting
somebody's
theory. Theories are
got to
great
that
and all
conclusion.
when you're not using theories to explain why an episode was bad.
Yes.
They should
that's
enhance
somebody
everything.
that's somebody going, hey, but guys, what about if it's actually all false?
But it doesn't solve
It's like,
it
no,
either.
just accept it. That's not the case.
Because every single element of Doctor Who you've ever seen, when you're with the Doctor, everything's true.
Yes.
So when the Doctor shows up, he should be the Doctor you know. Or so abnormal and so different to what you usually know, you know for a fact this isn't the right kind of Doctor. Rather than ever so slightly different, so you have to come up with this solution. As you
So-
can tell, Aidan, I don't
so
like this episode at all.
This, we can consider that theory exterminated.
I'm sorry, everyone. That's... I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
Wow. That's what we're here for. Second theory. Now, I say it's a theory, this is actually an interpretation that a lot of people have come to. So rather than just that one stray YouTuber who said that thing, this is something a lot of people have said. It is a meta-narrative
Here you are.
into fandom.
Um,
Can you see that? Because I definitely can.
yes, if you explain it to me.
Linda
Mhm.
are Whovians.
Ah, gotcha.
They are a bunch of people who absolutely love Doctor Who. Doctor Who brings these people together, and it shows you how positive fandom can be.
And how the Doctor
When
won't really
every-
care about you in the end and just
Yeah.
show up to have a go at you.
Let's just ignore that bit for a
Mhm.
moment. But all these people are, let's say, they're Doctor Who fans. They're in a Doctor Who club. They love talking about Doctor Who. Even gets down to that bit where I think Bliss says something like, the Doctor is just a construct. And she goes on about, doesn't she make some like clay thing? And then she's like, this is what I think the Doctor is. This is what he represents, something like that. And I think it's a nice way to say that is a kind of Doctor Who theory. That is, these are the way people come up with theories, whether they're true or load of old
Insane.
tosh. People will come up with their own theories. People will come together. People will make something nice out of it. But then you get those toxic fans who come into a fandom and they go, nope, you're going to do it my way now. And they come, and in this case, they are Victor, whatever his name is. I can't think what it is.
Victor Von Doom.
I'm going to Google it. So no, I can't do it. There's no signal in this room.
Doctor Doom. Victor
Victor,
Freeze.
Victor somebody.
I'm just naming.
Victor
just
Creed.
comic
Who's
book
that?
characters.
That's Sabretooth, isn't it?
I don't know. Listen, right. X-Men you can stick to and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, you go on about Batman.
Victor
I'll go on about
Freeze,
X-Men.
also known as Mr. Freeze, who's actually an incredibly well-written character.
Oh, we've set him off about Batman now.
Well, yeah, I've been set off twice today. No.
But yeah, he is the toxic fan. He is literally the internet troll. And a bit of research proved that internet troll was a term at this time and it did exist. Is it any wonder they've made the Absorbloff look like a troll?
Well, no, because he doesn't. He just looks. Mate, right? Okay.
I buy into this theory.
This theory is well developed, and it's actually quite a nice idea. But the thing
Russell T Davies has said it is something he considered when he wrote it.
okay, good theory. I will say I like it. Yeah, no, I like it. Doesn't fix the episode in any sense.
No, it doesn't fix it,
Or
but it's
make
a
it-
nice interpretation that
Because right, let's do a quick recap on what was the worst bits. What? Okay, basically, it shouldn't have been tried to be funny when it didn't need to be.
humor's misplaced. Yep.
Yep. The Doctor feels
Wrong.
What's the word? Inconsistent in the
Yes.
character you've known to love. So that doesn't work for me. And there's this like big one element. What is it? It's the Absorbaloff.
Yes.
That's everything about that. It just doesn't
Everything
work.
about the Absorbaloff is wrong.
Oh, and just one last point on which I don't like. The opening feels like a student film that we make. It really does.
Yeah, I mean, I find the opening quite fun, but you yesterday when you were sending me your deranged snaps about how you hated Love and Monsters and how it was so much worse than you remember it being, direction was something you threw out.
yes.
Come on, let's speak as a director and tell me what's wrong with it.
Right, okay. As a director,
So
it
I have 2
feels-
points about this, but go.
Okay, first off, it just feels kind of soapy and a bit cheap, and it doesn't feel like I'm watching anything quite nice. It's one of my main points about whenever I direct something. I feel like if you notice the camera and remember that you're watching through a camera, you lose elements.
Yeah.
In almost every single shot of this episode, which are outside, the indoor shots mostly kind of are static, but outside there are shots where the camera's panning, moving. It's never really still, and it just feels. I just remember I'm watching a TV show. I can't get involved in the world because the story's not gripping me, the characters aren't gripping me, so I can see the camera movements. No, no. From a director's from the director's standpoint, again, from more kind of the theatre side, I'm sorry. You need to. Don't pick actors for star value. Pick them for the characters, and please don't have a character be really kind of compelling over a point of view camera webcam shot, and then have him kind of lose all elements of protagonist.
Something I saw people saying that Linda start off
Every
quite...
time you say Linda, I'm like, which one's Linda?
Linda, what actually is it? London Investigation and Detective Agency or something like that,
Bingo.
isn't it? Linda's highlight is when they form the band, and you can see them really...
Elton, I'm sorry, man, you can't sing. You know Elton John?
Don't bring me down. Cruise. And I was singing ELO, that's what they actually sing in the episode, but
Yeah, and I thought I'd keep it Elton John.
Okay. But people say
I'm
when they form that band, that's when they're most connected and actually feels like a real gelling group. People say after that, they become a bit cartoonish. And a lot of what people say is people is just being internet folks. That's why I just keep saying people. People say that Linda bounced between soap and pantomime.
Soap. I quite like pantomime, but pantomime has to be funny. So I really will pick up on the soap part. It's the shots and the acting which feel soapy.
I mean, a great part of the Russell T Davies era is that it is Doctor Who in a soap. The entire run is Doctor Who in a soap.
Or is it Doctor Who in a drama?
I think there's a lot. Maybe towards the end becomes a bit more drama, but I think Series 1 has so many soapy moments.
I feel like it's the acting which always loses me. And I don't feel compelled with the characters. And that's this episode, not compelled in any of the characters. But with David and Billy, and then you've got Catherine, and I forget. What's Martha's actor? What's her name?
Freema Agyeman.
That's the one. Freeman.
Or Agyeman, some people say. I'm not actually sure how you pronounce it.
Martha Jones, who I really like. They all compel me, and all of those side characters do. And I've never actually thought of it as a soap, because I usually connotate soap with bad acting. And this episode, immediately I'm thinking soap. Yeah.
That brings us nicely onto what would you do to fix it?
Burn it down in some sort of blaze of hellfire. No, right. What I do to fix it, if possible, just get rid of the entire alien premise. Yes, get rid of the alien premise, like of the absorber loft. Just get rid of that. I know you can't exist in the contract, but if you could, get rid of that and just focus on the idea of how people deal with the Doctor and what it's like, how he affects the world as just a being.
So if somebody interacted with the Doctor personally, how would that affect them?
Yeah, like we see how she's affected by people leaving. It's more grounded. It's delving into that fandom thing, and we see kind of Elton's. Why is he hunting down the Doctor? Is it because he saw him when he was younger? But
he just became obsessed with them.
But no. It was more of a rhetorical. I'm just reading into it. He's chasing them because he's obsessed with them, but it's not because he thinks he killed his mum. Maybe that's something you can delve into. He sees his mum dead, and this guy just stands there. That'd be quite cool. He's chasing this Doctor because he thinks the Doctor killed his mum. But he's repressed any idea of it being aliens because you can't blame aliens.
Yeah.
But being able to blame a single person, it's classic grief. You want someone to blame. You need an outlet. So it's like with Batman, he beats up criminals to deal with pain, which probably isn't the best of ideas. Listen.
So the episode ends with Elton just absolutely wading into the Doctor.
No, just beating him up. The Doctor's like, "Who the hell are you?"
He just regenerates there and then.
Just like every punch, a new guy. No, I just think if you get rid of the absorber off, and maybe if you focus more on the idea of how people who just it's not the idea of people without the Doctor and how the Doctor is this being. It's the idea of how people are just affected by him generally. How are his old companions, that kind of thing. I would try and spend more time on this episode and just focus on that element, really.
Yeah.
How about you, Aidan?
See, it's tricky because
It is a tricky one.
Because I sort of think I like really delving in on how does the Doctor affect an everyman. What is it like to live in the Doctor Who universe? The thing is where does the Doctor come into it with that?
Maybe don't have him in this episode
at all. Maybe just in flashbacks. But I sort of think you sort of need to feel like the day's been saved at the end, and I don't know how you do that.
The thing is, with this episode, I didn't feel like the day was saved by the Doctor. I feel like the day was just dealt with, but he just showed up. Right. So how could the Doctor kind of save it? Maybe.
I think maybe if you still had an alien element, just change the alien. Like, pick another winner. I'm sorry, William Grantham, but just pick another winner from the Blue Beauty Challenge.
So, Elton, Mum was killed by these aliens. Maybe the aliens are still around. And the Doctor's back to deal with them. And Elton's been having all these deaths in his family, maybe, quite recently. Quite dark, I know.
It's a dark episode, this is.
But it's better, because it's not trying to be funny. But you have it, so maybe some family members are dying. His dog's died for some reason. Some weird stuff. Yeah. Dogs dying is what gets the fans. And then you focus on that alien and expand that idea a bit. So maybe Elton's blaming the Doctor for all these deaths. He's like, why is this happening? I remember when someone died mysteriously in my life. Mysteriously, it was my mum when I was younger, and this guy was in the room. What if it's still him chasing him? And then the Doctor's at the end. He's like, dude, chill out. Let me deal with this. I can't bring anyone back to life, but I can make sure they stop killing people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just focus on that one element rather than have it be. Because right now, it feels like the whole Linda thing is tacked on along with the absorber off. They're not focusing on either element.
So that's the question, because I think I'd still want Jackie's element to be in there. You could still have him hunting for the Doctor and get to Jackie. How does he get to Jackie without Linda? Because Linda's maybe too light-hearted for this dark interpretation. Depends whether or not you want to keep it in there. Because if you want to keep the fandom allegory, then it's still in there, but if you're removing the absorber off, it doesn't really matter anymore.
If I could, I would just get rid of the Linda element and just have it focus on Elton as
I
want Elton to be the protagonist.
He could just find Jackie in another way. There's no, do you know what I mean?
Well, the reason he finds Jackie this early on is he just finds the first person. He's like, oh, it's Jackie. It's like, yeah, okay. It was already really coincidental. He was able to do a lot of stuff. Why not just keep one of those elements in?
Yeah. So, essentially, our fixes for this episode is remove the humour, remove Linda, remove the absorber off, make it darker, and have Elton essentially in hunt for the Doctor, not just because he's like, who was that bloke in my house that time? But because he's like, there's something in my family that keeps killing them off. And the only connection to whatever that is this man.
Yep.
And I don't know if
we don't have a history of any heart disease, anything like that.
Yeah, he might be responsible, or he just knows what it is. And that brings us to the end. Sun is shining in the sky. Raining clouds in the sky. Da-dee-da-dee-da. I don't know any more words of this song.
Oh, fun fact about the end of Mr. Blue Sky. It doesn't say. Do you know when it goes like
Mr. Blue?
It's not Mr. Blue Sky. It's please turn me over. It does not say Mr. Blue Sky. Common misconception. It says please turn me over. Because it's like you're turning over.
Okay, and there is a great point to end with a fun fact about Jeff Lynne's ELO.
Yes. Well, thank you for listening, everyone.
Thank you for listening. This has been Exterminating Doctor Who on the University of Salford's Utter Radio. I have been Aidan Gula.
And I have been George Ellis. Thank you for listening.
Thank you for listening.
Thanks,
Come
guys.
back next week
and girls.
When we'll be talking about, I think, Victory of the Daleks next week.
Yeah, good choice.
We're exterminating Doctor Who, so I feel like we should get a Dalek episode out. I think Victory of the Daleks would be a good one. Next week, Sunday at 5 till 6 on Utter Radio. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.